On the line here we have Mark Shields, former Commissioner of Police. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. I'm really glad that you decided that you do this interview. Now,
it's my pleasure.
We understand what is going on in the country. The first question I want to ask you, what is it that you feel is the biggest hindrance to the movement of the police and the government against crime in Jamaica?
The biggest hindrance?
Yes.
Well, you know what, man? You could speak for and write for hours on that, because it really is a thing that you need to break down into sections. And the hindrance takes all shapes and forms. I think first and foremost, the Jamaica Constabulary Force themselves, they have a few very good people, very professional, very dedicated to what they do, but they still have an internal problem of corruption, point one, and point two, there is still a critical mass of people within the organisation who do not wish to change, who police as if it's still 1970 or 1980, and despite giving every single aid, assurance, assistance, we're still stuck where we were before. And I've noticed that on so many different levels, which I could expand on. Secondly, the government, at the moment, I think there is a new will to make things happen. Whether or not the zones of special operation work, we will have to see. The state of emergency in St James is another positive move, although it is perhaps disappointing that it didn't happen 2 years ago. So there are things that are beginning to happen. If you look at the murder rate in St James since the state of emergency, without trying to put anything on it, it has certainly reduced. And now we have to look at ways in which we can continue to chase those criminals off the streets, not just from St James, but everywhere else. And you'll find that criminals that were in St James are now being displaced to Hanover, Westmoreland and Clarendon and elsewhere. So we need to keep them in fear of us, rather than the public, the people of Jamaica, the good people of Jamaica being in fear of the criminals. And I think we can do that. So in answer to your question, it's very broad. We also have to look at ourselves. We have to look at our own behaviour. You and I both drive on the streets of Jamaica and we see the recklessness. We see the lawlessness all of the time. People jumping red lights, going the wrong way up roads, doing everything that they can not to obey the law. And we somehow have to create a society like it is in other places where people do as they're told. People obey laws, because my strong belief is that if you can take control of the streets and have some sense of order, then there's less likelihood to be the serious lawlessness that we see in places in Jamaica.
The reoccurring argument about corruption in the police force. Remember, Dr. Carl Williams mentioned his disappointment in not being able to curb that. We just spoke to a former assistant commissioner, Trinity Keith Gardner, and he mentioned the corruption. And now we hear you hint at it too. It would appear to me that it has been there forever. When you were the commissioner of police, was it dear to the point where now that we hear everybody talking about it, or is just something just starting to happen now because we hear a lot of police getting old for different...
I don't think there was sufficient, and it's with respect to all of my colleagues, I do not think that there was sufficient will and courage to move against some of these corrupt individuals. But in defence of them, I do not think that the way that the rules within the Jamaica Constabulary Act are set up, that it's very easy to get rid of people. What I can tell you is that when I was Deputy Commissioner of Police, I saw the intelligence. I read about some of the extremely bad cops that were within the organisation that I actually had to work with. But the problem that you have is moving from having the intelligence to constructing a proper investigation, prosecution, and subsequent conviction is a huge amount of work. And quite often these people are very sophisticated and extremely difficult to catch. So I would prefer a system whereby if we have the intelligence that the government and legislators would allow us to have a system whereby we could retire people in the public interest. Because sometimes I'd rather just not have them in the force and even pay some money, but get rid of them and clean up the force, because in that way we can move forward. Whilst they stay, we have no chance of actually securing the trust and confidence of the people.
All right, we say that INDECOM is coming under fire by the two main, the opposition leader and the Prime Minister. What you think is the role of INDECOM in all of this, given that they were there to really deal with certain human rights against the citizens by the police? But now we see that they are also coming under fire by the two main gentlemen them in a Jamaica. Well,
first of all, you and I were talking about corruption, and if we just stick with corruption for a minute, we've now got MOCA, the Major Organised Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, which, as you know, Parliament has just passed that it will be a completely separate, independent organisation to the police, to the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and they will be targeting corruption, which is what you and I were talking about. Yeah. So that's one thing. And I think that's an extremely positive move that this government has managed to get that legislation through. In relation to INDECOM itself, I do not understand the concerns about whether it's politicians or certain police officers. I do not understand it. There is there is legislation in place for INDECOM, and there are rules upon which they can be engaged. In fact, if you look at the front page of the Gleaner today, and I think the Observer, where the Honourable Peter Phillips, the opposition leader, said that INDECOM were taking guns off police officers on the street just after shootings. Yes. You also saw that Terence Williams said that's absolutely not the case, that there is a procedure. The INDECOM themselves don't take weapons from police anyway. It's the police that do that. And secondly, they're taken to a police station where it is done discreetly. So there can be this misinformation from various quarters at times, which I think is unhelpful. The reality is that every single civilized country has an organisation like INDECOM that is there to independently investigate the police. That's what you have. And we need to face the fact that INDECOM is not going to go away, that the law is there, and it's there to protect the civilians, and it's also there to protect the innocent police officers, because I think it was Minister Montague who said just a few days ago, of all of those investigations conducted by INDECOM, a very small percentage actually ended up with prosecutions. But you still have to go through the process of investigation, because if you don't have investigation, then you can get miscarriages of justice.
So what do you think is, all right, the Prime Minister mentioned balance. What is your interpretation of the Prime Minister talking about the need some balance in INDECOM?
I didn't hear exactly what the Prime Minister said, but my view on balance is very simply this. INDECOM are bound by certain rules and regulations that are set down in law in terms of how they can proceed. I do not have any knowledge or evidence of INDECOM breaking that breach or breaching that in any shape or form. If they have, then those matters would be investigated. I do not think that it's on one side or the other. I just think that there is a general resistance, that this attitude that some police officers are literally laying down their weapons because they're concerned about INDECOM. I would say, police officer, you have nothing to be frightened of. If you do your job and you use sufficient force that is relevant to that particular occasion, and if you defend yourself and you defend your citizens, then you have no fear from anybody at all. But on the other hand, if you think that you can go out there and target people who you think are criminals and kill them and plant firearms on them, I have absolutely no sympathy for you at all. That's how I would say it.
If you were the Commissioner of Police today, what would
Deputy Commissioner? Yes.
No, today. If you was the Commissioner of Police today,
yes,
what would be your first move now, given the situation that we find ourselves in Jamaica?
Well, there's quite a few things I would do if I was Commissioner of Police, but I think the first the first thing I would do immediately is to look at the strength of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and I would get anybody at all that was behind a desk, that was fit to be on the streets, and I would get as many people on the streets as possible. Everything that's happening in St James that is successful at the moment, and the things that have happened that are successful in the zones of special operations, is because there is high visibility policing,
Yes.
and there's a presence of soldiers. So the first thing I would do is to review the strength of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and I would order every single person who sits behind a desk conducting an administrative role to get on the streets and to be visible. I don't care if they're not the greatest police officers in the world, but I need them on the streets. I need to ensure that when you and I drive home and we go through, say, Halfway Tree, that we're not going to jump the lights, we're not going to cut up the right-hand lane, we're not going to do all those other bad things, because there's going to be a police officer everywhere to control the streets. We need to take control of the streets. We need to make citizens feel safe and secure. That's the first thing that I would do. Secondly, I would have absolute zero tolerance to anything to do with traffic infractions, people dropping garbage on the streets, men urinating on fences at the side of the streets, any of those small crimes that are being committed that everyone turns a blind eye to, motorcyclists riding without crash helmets, you name it. If you're on the streets and you commit an offence, you will get a ticket or you will be arrested. So that would be my second thing. And the third thing is that I would establish permanent checkpoints, police checkpoints around major cities with proper concrete structures, with CCTV, with license plate reading systems upon them, so that criminals fear going to any city because they know they're going to be watched. So they're just 3 or 4 things. I could go on if you have more time.
Yeah. No, we have time. We have time. You can't talk. We have time.
Well, next, if you really want to know, in the first month, I would interview every single senior officer in the force, and I would decide for myself, based on the intelligence and based on my interview, whether or not I think they are fit for purpose. And I would make some tough decisions, and I would focus on building a strong, trustworthy, reliable top team. And I would get rid of anyone that I did not feel would fit that bill, and I would either give them a project to do, or if I could, get rid of them in the public interest. I would then, with that, identify the top 10 high potential officers, and I would ensure that they go off to Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States for extended periods of secondment in order that they could learn the strategic skills that are required to run a modern police service.
Yeah.
And I would bring them back and hope that at least 1 or 2 of them would be the natural successors to be the next Internal Commissioner of Police.
All right, we have a fork in the road here, and given where we are is now, I mean, take yourself out of it as being a commissioner. We need a commissioner now. Mm-hmm. You give credence to the idea that we should seek for the commissioner outside of Jamaica?
Well, no, there's a big difference. Outside Jamaica or outside the Jamaica Constabulary Force, which are you talking about?
No, outside of Jamaica. If you could, like, you came here and you had Mr. Green from England, who was here a couple of years ago. You think that Jamaica right now reach a stage now where we need to get someone more experience, more understanding of crime fighting in a volatile situation? Like, for instance, England. Can remember that them did the ban handgun in England?
Yes.
Yeah, but now we see people are use knife killing. Every day when I'm a brethren call me and say, boy, I appear knife killing a go on in England. But I think we can handle knife quicker than gun. But
it does.
Yeah, you think it is necessary, or you give credence to the idea that why Jamaica, it look like every time we get a commissioner it not work, we need to get somebody outside. What do you think about
that? Let me put it this way. I'm going to give you an analogy with Grace Kennedy. Grace Kennedy is a well-respected Jamaica-grown company. Okay? You accept that?
Yes.
Grace Kennedy is a well-respected company. Grace Kennedy has grown exponentially over the years to become an internationally recognized company, and they export their goods to the United Kingdom and the United States. Mm-hmm. And they also have a lot of services. Now, you're going to be thinking, where's Mark Shields going with this? This is where I'm going with it. The reason for the success of Grace Kennedy is because they have been able to recruit people from outside Grace Kennedy. If everybody joined Grace Kennedy at 18, 19, 20 years old, and the only way you could be in Grace Kennedy is if you started on the shop floor and worked your way up to become the CEO, I can guarantee that Grace Kennedy would not be the great company it is. Like any company that is successful, it draws on people from other areas, whether they're Jamaican from within Jamaica or whether they're from outside that country. That's why Digicel is successful. That's why Grace Kennedy and many other companies are successful, because of that. If you have an organisation like the JCF that only ever recruits people from within inside the JCF, it is a recipe for disaster. I regret that after Les Green left and after I left, that for whatever reason, they stopped the whole notion of international police officers. They stopped so many things. They stopped the Major Investigation Task Force. They have not done as much with intelligence. There are so many things that we actually start here that are quite good, and then after a couple of years we give it up. So the answer to your question is yes, I would take not only a commissioner, but deputy commissioners and assistant commissioners from elsewhere. But at the same time, as I said in my plan, I would be training local Jamaican senior officers to go and work abroad to gain the experience, in the same way that if you work for Grace Kennedy, you can leave and go and work in New York or Miami for a few years and then come back with all that experience back to Grace Kennedy and make the organisation great. So that's my analogy. I don't know what you think about that idea.
I think it's important. I had a suggestion, and I suggested continuously in this program that the Ministry of Security and should really send or carry a group of police, soldiers, whatsoever, and carry them to countries that has had worse crime than Jamaica and has gotten out of it. You know, there are many countries. I mean, all right, even think about New York itself. There was that time when people afraid for walking in New York City with almost 10 million people. And we see right now, 300 murder for 1 year is like for 10 million people. That is really something else.
Yeah, exactly.
And I am feeling that what should take place is that countries that we see that had a high crime rate, for whatever reason or not, these are the countries that these police, soldiers, and the ministry should go to and really get a good hands-on understanding of what is it that was done to alleviate that problem and carry it back to Jamaica. I don't know. I mean,
and it isn't, but you know what? It's not just about the crime fighting side, because you and I are talking mainly about crime fighting, but it's actually about going to NYPD or the Met Police in London and looking at how they run the organisation. How do you make strategic plans, and how do you make strategic decisions? Yeah. How do you manage a large public sector organisation? Because all of that's very important as well. And when you look at the Jamaican Constabulary Force and the way it's managed, it hasn't changed for so many years. And it's those things. And so if you can't bring people in all of the time because the local force is not prepared to listen or think they know best, then send them away. Send them to New York, Toronto and London, in order that they can gather those excellent skills and bring them back and preach to the people here for them.
Well, Mr. Shields, I give thanks for you talking to me, and I realize that you decide that this is your home now, and you're quite okay, and so I really say that it don't jolt you a bit, that you like you want to run with like some away. So, yeah, man, give thanks.
Thank you, man. Thank you for inviting me onto your show. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, that was Mark Shield, former Commissioner of Police, giving his view. Yes.
Criminology teaches you that a man must go sleep, he must go eat, and he must go have sex.
I mean, you man, 6 months?
No, lie, them a misinterpretation.
A lie, them a tell by you?
Yeah, man, a mistake they make. I wouldn't put it as harsh as that.
All right, explain why did say why they misinterpreted.
If I were selected the Commissioner of Police, and after having done my reorganization of the force, the hierarchy, the middle management, put the right people in the right place, get rid of those who are to be gotten rid of, as well as putting the strategies in place, getting the resources to the proper staffing and transfer and placement. Then after about 6 months after we have implemented, after about 6 months it's supposed to be seeing some drastic, appreciative results.
So
that is what I mean. You know, I couldn't know, but you know, no motor 50 years it take to reach us. So me, and even God, when we operate every day, I don't want to be disrespectful.
Yes.
Has not tried to deal with this thing in 6 months. How could I have done that?
Yeah. All right. So let me ask you now. This petition that is going around about Renito for commissioner, you really think, say, even if the people them say it, you really believe, say, those who don't like you for a long time, who have power and authority in Jamaica, I will wreck you be the commissioner?
Well, no, Adam is the problem, you know. They are the problem. But I think this time the people's power is supernatural and superior to them. And this time I just believe that the people's power will influence those people who have the final say in this issue. Because what they're going to do, they can't come back with the same thing, then trying the same thing over and over. You're going to get the same result.
Yes. All right, let me ask you now. I'm going to ask you when I ask at the other commissioner them now. What is the... All right, you remember somebody did interview you before when name Carl Williams did resign?
Yes.
I did do an interview with you. All right, we'll come back now because the next one resign again.
Yes.
What is the major problem? Why the police and the Ministry of Security can't get this thing together?
Inaction. One word. Inaction. Fear. Commissioner of Police afraid to act. Sometimes to the extent also that the minister afraid to act. But I don't business with the minister. I'm business with the Commissioner of Police, the force in which I serve. Some of them, they are timid, weak. Some of them don't know how to manage the job either. Some of them don't have the requisite skill. Some of them were appointed based on other consideration other than the job at hand to be done. So me know you, Muta. As a man, you are a broadcaster, you're an announcer, you're a DJ, you're a journalist, you're everything. Now if you want a journalist, now you must come look for me, can't go look for one man who a public, you know. No, so that is the way it goes, you know.
And that me say
so you put the right person in the right
place. Yes. And that me say about the road them I use gardener to fix the road them.
Thank you.
You know, so
thank you.
It's a problem.
That is it.
Let me ask you a question. The last time you was on the program, you talk about personally in a Montego Bay where you have high-ranking police and politicians were involved.
And businessmen and
store
owners.
You still hold fast to that reasoning?
Still holding fast to that. And as I said, you may have read my article where I said the first thing I'm going to do a massive transfer, reversion, demotion, replacement, setting the people right, moving out the corrupt people and put some clean people there, and then we start to do the job, my dear sir.
So you feel that is the main problem, you know, where that is the issue confronting the police force? You feel that the corruption of the police force still maintain itself, that is why it in the progress from make in the fight against crime?
And sir, when I was at the CMU, I think I told you this already, I went down there and recommended to the commissioner that the large percentage of corruption I saw where the policemen in Montego Bay and women were involved, and recommended transfer, my dear sir, and replacement, and have some of them investigated and charged. Nothing had happened with the exception a few transfers they make. And Mutabaruka, in less than 2-3 months, politicians, corrupt means and practices were used to transfer back the same criminal them a Montego Bay, the same corrupt policemen them a Montego Bay. And that is what has led to the downfall. That is a part of what has led to the downfall of Montego Bay. You are there, sir?
Yeah. All right. I remember one time...
Yeah, you are there?
Yeah, mommy there, man.
So you hear what I say?
Yeah, mommy hear what you say.
All right, good, sir.
Yeah, all right. I remember one time, you see, Mr. Siaga did give the police 20 panelists, 20 people who think was the problem.
I did 13.
Yeah, 13 was problem.
I know a mistake you make, 13.
All right, 13. May I ask you now, you ever set up a list and carry it to the Ministry of Security to say these police is corrupt police, we need to investigate them and weed them out?
Yes, what I have done, I couldn't bring it to the minister because I wasn't the commissioner. It's only the commissioner can bring certain things to the minister.
Okay.
But it was brought to the attention of the hierarchy. And as I repeat, they were transferred, a few of them, not plenty. Maybe those who they didn't like. and they transfer them, and before daylight, speaking figuratively, all of them were transferred back to Montego Bay to continue the corruption there. So I went down there, and I asked all the warrants, all the summonses for all the wanted people, and Mr. Mutabaruka, and not castigating anybody. I'm only talking the truth. I never get one. I had to do my own intelligence and research down there to know who the criminals were. I never get one from one policeman down there.
Yeah. So you think, all right, can you say now that them policemen there still there?
No, man, some transfer, but guess what happened? The danger now is because of that kind of situation that was in existence. So the young policeman come and broke him into that.
Okay.
Many of them go down there to do a good job, you know.
Yes.
But when they go down there, the forces against them, so then just turn into it too.
Yeah.
I have a few policemen who were transferred from the same year and go down there, clean man them.
Yes.
Good man them. And many of them have been arrested and charged now because when they go down there, they were forced and motivated to join the slackness that was going on down there.
All right. The Commissioner of Police has just resigned. We don't know why, but there's speculations going around. And like how you're not into the hierarchy of anything, can you tell me truthfully what you think why this commissioner resigned?
I think it's the pressure of the job. I try to talk the truth. Sometimes you never make mistake.
Yeah.
I try to do analysis, do research, and come to the conclusion.
Yeah.
It would seem to me that the minister is also under pressure. And the people are pressuring him to have the crime situation put under control.
Yeah.
And it would seem to me that the Commissioner of Police does not have the appetite or the will or the courage to fight the crime. And the minister kind of feels upset about that. And I'm told that the minister direct that certain things be done as it relates to operation. And he may not have liked it. And strong words were passed to him, to which probably has taken exception and decided to retire, my dear sir.
All right.
And one of the things too, if you are the commissioner leader in the organization, not the police force alone, and if you fail to act and to govern and to manage that organization, a great writer from the KGB, I don't remember his name, I read the book, say if you have power and you don't use it, it will be used against you.
Yes.
So, when I hear the people talking, I not defend the minister because them always, I have had bad experience as it relates to politics. But it would seem to me that it's non-performance that has led to this kind of situation that we have there now.
All right. So, we know say it's a good idea. I know say the majority of people in the ghetto, majority of people who out there would have said, well, bring back Renito. But as I said before, the people them who can make the difference don't feel that way because them feel say you're heavy-handed. Them feel say you're a heavy-handed person, and if you go bring back this heavy-handed man in the situation you so now, would that lead to more and more problem? How you see that?
Well, I don't know how they are thinking, You see, because they are safe in them, whether uptown or downtown house. Because they can employ 1,000 security guard to carry them people, because JC, them pick me go JC and KC. And when they come in home, them fly in a helicopter and pitch on them house top and all them things. They will run up their mouth and say these things. Yeah. Right? But the whole the poor little Jamaican people, we don't have no defense. We have to defend them.
Yeah.
I have to defend them. I have to be defending them when I was a policeman, and if I'm again appointed as the commissioner of the police. My first interest is to defend everybody. But the weak and vulnerable and the poor, I will have to focus my attention on them because you have some little criminal elements, some little wicked boy walking around with guns because them scam money and extort money and buy guns and shoot down innocent, weak people. I'm going to have to be their defense along with the extended police force. I'm not saying me alone can do it, but when I talk, I'm talking about I'm talking on leadership.
Yes.
So it's not I alone going to do it. So anybody listening on field says Renito Adams alone.
Yeah.
No, sir. I will be putting the proper person in the right place who we know will go out there and work. And as I told you, right, I challenge you, if you appoint me Commissioner of Police, I will be the first at last to be leading operation personally, physically, and practically
in the front
against criminal elements.
In the front line.
So I'm going to say, you go down there and come back. I'm going to say, let's go. And when I say, let's go, guess where me there? I just put it in the front.
Yes. Yeah, lead by example.
What leadership is about. Some people, you see, every policing and soldiering are not easy things.
Yeah.
How these things come about is when you have undesirables and people who try to mash up society. These people were made and introduced. This organization was made and introduced to repel them.
Yes. Yes.
So the action they're going to use is not the action of the church. You know, I go they go fling Bible after man. That can stop man from committing crime. I'm not saying if you use it spiritually, you know, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
In other words,
practically.
Thank you.
Physically,
so,
yes.
You have to confront them and physically and make them know you know mean business.
Yes.
So why we have reached this stage is because I want to tell you, sir, and this is my view, that there is not one law in Jamaica now that is serving as a deterrent to criminal elements out there.
Mm-hmm. So
and personally, too, I'm not talking the police force alone.
Yes.
All the persons who are being paid handsomely to deal with criminality in Jamaica and to have an ordered society.
Yes.
They are afraid and many are not doing their jobs.
Yes.
And that is really why we have reached this stage.
All right. We see them have a so-so thing, which two of them still in effect. And then we say in the same parish, them bring a state of emergency. All right. Tell me what you think about the two.
I'm just saying, I'm not laughing at it. I'm just saying how you interpret that now.
No, you tell me what you think about the two things then.
As it relates to security, and I always think I am reliable to some extent when it comes to security. I can hardly figure that out, sir. It looks like it's certain type of politics that has come up, and whether the government or the minister or whoever it is under some, whether it's internal or external pressure, sir, them introduce this to appease the psychology and the thinking and the mind of certain other people.
Which one of them, the so-so or the state of emergency?
Well, the so-so as you call it, I don't know if you say I don't. I'm not.
My mouth can't pronounce it.
All I am saying, sir, you could have bring in so-so and you bring in this. I must, while I talk to you, commend the army. Yes. Because the intelligence that I'm getting out there is the army is leading the battle down there against criminal elements.
Yes.
And they are achieving. To the extent that maybe some policemen are up in arms and vexed about the leadership that is being provided down there by the military.
We hear about that.
But the wrong thing them do, you can't use them the same people down there. I'm not saying everybody down there is corrupt, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But how the place reached that degree to which it has reached. And you use the same man, them will allow it to reach that to down there a perform police duty the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You must have them transfer and move out and bring in new people.
Yeah. All right. So
you see?
All right. So the state of emergency, them extended till May, them say?
Sir, state of emergency was not necessary in Montego Bay. If we had effective police action, effective and efficient police action, day in, day out, day and night, 24 hours a day, bombarding the criminal elements, seeking them out, searching them, arresting them, prosecuting them, detaining them, processing them to see if they wanted here or abroad, bombard them with police activity, day and night, we would not have reached this stage of us.
Yeah, it comes like as we do something, it get lapse, and then it go back to where it was.
And then the man then just wait it out.
Yes. Which now, some of them could have sit down in some hotel and maybe and wait it out.
Thank you, sir.
You know, because the man they can afford to sit down in a hotel a month.
They must have certain intelligence where who these men are, where they are likely to go. You have to find who are their associates and girlfriends, where they eat, where they sleep at night, where them go on and make love to whoever they make love to go. These are three critical elements that are in the annals of what you call criminology.
Yes.
Criminology teaches you that a man must go sleep he must go eat and he go have sex.
Yes.
So it's the duty of a policeman to garner all these intelligence.
Which part him do them treating there?
Oh, and they don't catch him.
But, all right, so you say you don't have no open at the state of emergency if you stem it to a fullness or it just a stop leak?
No, and I say I don't have any hope, That's why I come in this soldier say they're doing a good job.
Okay, the soldier.
And all that stuff. I'm only saying we never had to call a state of emergency. We never reached that stage.
Yeah.
If the policemen and soldier and people responsible for fighting crime down there, the mayor, the town clerk, everybody, we wouldn't have to reach this stage.
Yeah. A lot of people is saying
you
that.
Follow me?
You talk about the pressure. A lot of people is saying that the state of emergency was called because a gun shooting did go on near the airport.
I have that intelligence, so only that I don't have the evidence.
Proof, yes.
But
yes.
the intelligence suggests
that.
That because the gunman them got fire gun and nearly crash in a one tourist bus.
Yes.
That is on the street. I don't want to advocate that because as I told you, I don't have the evidence. If I had the evidence, I'd tell you right up front say that was the case.
Yeah, but a whole heap of people surmise that. A whole heap of people, if I don't saw it go something nearly so it go, because I mean really and truly the tourism business is one of the most,
Yes, I know. I'm not saying it's not so,
Yeah, I know.
It could well be so because you're Jamaican people, them say, Jamaican people say, if I know, so near so.
Yeah, near so,
but you see, me know as a professional who is speaking
you have to have
hardcore
evidence.
And responsible office.
Yeah.
I have to have evidence.
Evidence,
first.
yes.
I have my own feeling,
Yes. Yeah, I'm feeling
like
that too, even though I don't have no evidence.
So if that is the case, it would be very, very disingenuous on the part of the people who played a role in calling the state of emergency. If it is that issue it was called that when 300 odd people, it's because it looked funny, 300 odd people were killed before and they were never called it.
Yes.
And then it just suddenly called. I'm not saying maybe they're late in calling it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to really offer anything when they don't have the evidence. Really.
All right, so let me ask you now, look way forward, what do you think should have happened now? I mean, we have a state of emergency, we have a social thing going on, but what do you think should have happened now?
As I said, sir, what should happen now? Know that they must be catching some of the criminals then. They must have a effective and firm justice system in place where these men can be tried rapidly.
Yes.
Sentenced rapidly if they are found guilty. Strong sentences are meted out to them and strong examples are set. Right? You are to saturate the place with police presence. Every corner. I don't know if they have the resources. But if you manage your resources good, you can look like 100 policemen out there when I only 25.
Yes.
Because on the roads, some of them go out and stand up on the street side with the whole day.
Yes.
Go up and down, check boys, check the suspects. That is what the law says as a policeman's duty is to patrol the street by day and by night, seeking out criminal elements and suspects, arresting them and prosecuting them, and take them before a court of law for justice to be meted out to them. And if they're found guilty, you send them to prison, or you go and put them on probation, or whatever the sentence is.
Yeah.
That is how you order society.
Yeah.
That is how you fight crime. A man killed 3 men today. Nobody can find him. Him kill 4 tomorrow night. Nobody don't find him. Him kill another one another night. Nobody don't know who is this man. How can that be?
Yeah. Somebody must
get the intelligence now and bombard, don't make that man commit no more offense.
And the man them now hide again. I don't like first time when man used to hide.
Thank you. In my time, them have to hide in about. You remember me have to go on the old house, but I'm going to draw them out. Because them are hide from me and who no gone to England, gone to America, gone to Cuba, gone all over the place.
Yeah.
These men are not hiding, so then easily caught.
Yes.
So why we can't catch them?
Yes. Anyway,
and nobody believes says the police alone down there, as I told you before, corrupting about the business. And everybody,
Yeah, man.
But the business, the hotel, the financial institution, them down there, all kind of things down there involved.
The gun and the man them is right in front of the police and the soldier them are hide.
I mean, let me tell you, as an ex-policeman the other day, I was so embarrassed. Right in the middle of right in the middle of a state of emergency. Man could have been a funeral, go shoot man, and get to and gone.
Yes. Serious thing. That's serious thing.
So something is wrong, and I think all it has to do, and our big problem down there, sir. and anybody I listen whether them a police, soldier or what, is the lack of intelligence only.
Yes.
The intelligence to work off.
Mr. Adams, I want you to tell me which part you can find a petition and if anybody want to deal with it.
I don't know because let me tell you something. You know me stay.
Yeah.
Me don't want nobody to feel that me I motivate anything. If the people call for me, it must be on their own voluntary.
Yeah. So how years a petition did there? Who put it there?
I hear how well you did it, but what I'm trying to tell you, you never know the address. Me now I'm going to tell you because
okay.
You don't want nobody to feel that I motivate people to vote for them. People must vote voluntarily that it is a respectful reason.
Yeah.
That comes up. So people are calling and having a petition. I hear that one starting in England and locally about 3 going. And I have nothing to do with them. So matter of fact, a pure friend called me from time to time and asked me, Mr. Adams, you don't see this. The people want you right now. Later on, I'll be talking to about 3 radio stations abroad.
Yeah.
Where say the people over there, Jamaican people, say they want to come back home. And them want Mr. Adams, the commissioner, them assistant, no, not me.
Yeah, me know, man. Me hear it, you know. Me hear it, man.
Yes.
Me on the radio, you know. I hear the voice there.
Me know, but we not talk internationally.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you're a communicator. You deal with the news. You deal with radio.
Yes.
You must have been hearing this. Me don't do business with none of the people. The only reason why I'm applying this Mutabaruka, let me tell you, is the people are calling on me. And I think I have some solution.
Okay.
And I won't let them down. And I don't know if you're going to close now, but I must tell you that if I were appointed commissioner of police, there are many days my office won't see me boss. We're on the street, I'm going to look for criminal elements. I will be directing senior people at the force, the hierarchy, middle managers, to be on the street too. Because I am cautioning now, you can imagine me a police law Hanover. A supervise operation and the super on my yard. But let me tell you, plain, whoever that soup is will be taken to the Services Commission for dismissal.
Yeah.
That is what leadership is about.
Yes. You lead from in front.
Weak leadership is one of the problem in the force. Weak leadership. When I say the man is not good man, sir.
Yeah.
And you hear me describe them, some of them only good for the church and they will seek and win soul for heaven.
Yeah. But you want some for win it for the earth, you know.
Definitely, sir.
All right, sir. Give thanks, Mr. Adams.
God bless you, sir. And anytime you're ready, you call me.
All right, sir. Give thanks.